Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Illusion of Gaia. In the last part we got here to the Great Wall of China and did most of it in the process, and now we're going to continue on and, well, complete the area. Now, this is kind of tedious right here. What we have to do is actually Dark Friar this guy 3 times just so he can progress. If he was a tad closer to us, that wouldn't be a problem, but no. Also, there's a runaway flame. There's a eyeball fire right here that you technically don't have to kill yet, because what'll happen more often than not is that it'll actually escape off screen to the right, so you have to wait until later to kill it. But I lucked out, was able to kill it there, so that's less stuff I have to do later. And this room's fun. What we essentially have here is a Zelda-like block puzzle. We just have to make sure that these statues don't get in our way so we can get to a switch later on in the room. Pretty much just do what I'm doing, and even then, as you'll notice later on, I pause to think about what I'm doing, like right here. And in a couple minutes. Well, actually more like half a minute. Oh, no, it's annoying. Trying to get... Pulling things with telekinesis can be actually kind of finicky at times when you're trying to get to the block below you, because you cannot be in that block at all. So that can be kind of troublesome. Luckily, you don't have to do it that often. And here's me thinking about what I had to do. Pretty much just pull it towards you, knock it down, and you're good. Hit that switch, and they all become archers. So now I have to go back through the room just to kill them. Actually, what's really funny and weird about, or well, not so much funny, what kind of odd about the archers, is that you can actually destroy their arrows from certain parts of your side as well when you're blocking. Which I don't understand that much. Anyway, now that we've done that, just exit to the right. This is the room where you would get that eyeball fireball. I don't even remember what I called it last part. If it escaped earlier, but I already killed it. And this room, which is completely and totally filled with enemies. You got about 6 archers, 4 snakes, and a good amount of fireball eyes as well. This is pretty much a early Zelda game kill them all room, because you can't progress onwards unless you kill them all. Well, you can, just that you wouldn't get the stat boost, which I'm not sure why you wouldn't want the stat boost unless you're doing a challenge run. And after that, just head down the stairs to the right here, because we actually are required to do something down here. Remember what I mentioned last part, how you're going to notice where the archers are in a bunch of statues? Here's the room. The one little defect with this, the statue sprites are, when they are actually archers, are always facing down, so that's totally obvious. Actually, no, it's totally not obvious to be the sarcastic response to that. And this is actually a room where you do have to kill them all. I actually missed the one right there for a moment because I was paying attention to the top row first. Take them all out, you get an HP boost, putting us towards 28 units, and then a dark space appears. And you're gonna notice I actually turned it back into Will. Why? Well, you can't get to the boss unless you are Will, so you're gonna have to deal with a bit of a longer boss fight. Curse you, game design. I really do not get why they had you only get to this boss as Will, because this is actually one of the more annoying bosses coming up here. And what or who is it? Well, Fanger. I hate sand, it's rough and coarse and gets everywhere. Ugh, Star Wars Episode 2. Anyway, Fanger has a couple of attacks. There's this attack where he goes up and down throughout the sand itself, which is actually surprisingly easy to get hit by. He has this attack where he rises into the air and then slightly aims for you when he's coming back down. And then he has the attack you want him to do, which is when he only shows his head, a la the Antlion from Final Fantasy IV, kind of, and spits out 2 balls of varying colors. Why you want him to do that attack is because you can hit him for like 5 times that, and considering Will only does 1 damage, that's quite a bit. The various balls you can shoot out do have different effects. The yellow ones explode, I think the gray ones walk around a bit, and the ones that aren't the others, which are... I don't know what they are, actually. They're essentially little mini sand fangers that will pop up and down and, I think, shoot various little pellets at you. He does the little guys more often than not here, though. Oh no, it's the, darkest ones that, explode. If you need to use an herb in this fight, don't feel sorry for yourself, because I often find myself having to do that. Just because this guy really does hurt. And even though I use an herb, it still ends up being a close fight. Although I will say, this guy reminds me of 2 specific Zelda bosses, one in Wind Waker and one in Twilight Princess. The bosses of the Earth Temple... No, not the Earth Temple. What was the dungeon in Wind Waker where you had Makar as your helper? That's gonna hurt my head. And then there was the first water dungeon in Twilight Princess. That was a fun dungeon, I don't care what anyone said. Well, at least the boss was. The dungeon itself was alright. I still think the best water dungeon in a Zelda game is the Ancient Cistern. And look, for defeating that guy, we got a mystic statue for some reason, so... convenient. Yeah, 4 out of 6, we're at least 2/3 of the way there. So, let's go and find the Lance now. Because all threat from this place is pretty much negated. Hey, Lance. You know, as you can tell, I was actually going to read this dialogue originally, but then I realized this is a romantic scene. I don't do well with those when it comes to reading, so no thanks. There's a reason I won't be reading the dialogue out of Final Fantasy IV, that is for sure. Oh, Final Fantasy IV. I love thee, but I'll save that love for another day. This is a day where I play a game that's good, but the story sucks. But he at least found the cure for his father, apparently. And this actually tripped me up the first time. You're actually supposed to leave these 2 alone for a bit. That took me a couple minutes to figure out the first time. Though he does realize the fact that Lance was saved. Well, Lance realizes the fact that he was saved by the stones that fell off the necklace that he made for her. I do think the only reason that you choose the necklace over everything else is just for those little guides and for this extra scene, I believe. I'm not too sure. I've always chosen the necklace because various guides always tell me to do that. Because admittedly, as much as I like this game, this is one I do need a guide for because the dungeons are slightly confusing once you get to the... Well, more accurately, once you get to Moo, they start to get confusing. This one was fairly linear, but that's just because it's kind of a giant wall. You can't get more linear than that. Anyway, I'm just outright ignoring the dialogue right now, because, romance. But, looks like things all work out between the 2. Aww. Young love. Like, you really shouldn't say young... Well, they are youngsters, but... I'm only slightly older than them, so I can't really be saying much. Actually, how old are these guys supposed to be? I'm gonna take a guess around somewhere between 15 and 17. I wonder if there's actually any details on that if I look it up. And we're back in water, Mia. And you can talk to Neil, you can find out that he wants to go to Euro next, but we don't have any way to get there, really. At least not quickly. So we have to go out and search for a way. However, you might remember that in that dungeon we got a red jewel, the 30th one to be exact. So let's go give that to Gem. How you doing, buddy? And for giving him the 30th red jewel, we get an upgrade to Dark Friar. I know for a fact it does one thing. It might do two things. One, it might be a power increase just slightly. But I know for a fact it actually adds a second function to it. By the way, I missed that lily pad, so I had to wait like a minute for it to get back here. That wasn't fun. What the power-up does is that when the Dark Friar is fired, you can press the button again to make it explode and send energy balls in 4 different directions. And this is the Russian Glass Club. For those familiar with Russian Roulette, it's a fairly similar thing. Pretty much you got a 1 in 5 chance of death. Although in Russian Roulette it's 1 in 6 chance. Unless there's just nothing loaded. Pretty much one of these glasses has poison in it, the 4 of them don't. I'm going to tell you right now, there's no way you can actually fail this if you try to choose the one which has the poison, which is the one on the very far right. Well, being a psychic goes, that's not a good thing. So, pretty much, we have to kill this guy. And you also have to talk to him to progress the turns. I always forget about that. And you know, if he was a sensible guy, he could just back up, say, you lost fair, I lost fair and square, rather. Go ahead and take the reward. But being the champion and having his cheap pride, he commits suicide, essentially. You know, I get the whole pride thing, but dude, what is wrong with you? Ugh. The characters in this game are ugh. But yeah, that guy died. However, he also left us 4 crooks, which are these little animals to the left, kind of like camels. However, you might realize there's 4 of them, and there's 6 of us. That means 2 people have to stay behind. But luckily, Lance is staying behind, because he wants to take care of his father. And Lily, falling in love with him, is going to as well, so it all works out for us. Though, admittedly, if they didn't want to come with us, we could probably just have Kara ride with us and something like that. So, we're pretty much going to ditch them here. I think this is actually the last time in the game we see them, too. Huh. Yeah, it is, actually. Well, yeah, pretty much. So, we're leaving for Euro. On our horse, camel, lizard things. What are these things, seriously? Got really stilted walking animations on the world map there, though. Oh, by the way, the reason we're going to Euro is because this is where Neil's parents are. I forget if they mentioned that already. We crossed the desert and finally arrived in the village of Euro. Looks more like a city to me, but okay. Euro was a bustling city. There we go. Larger than I had imagined. Neil's parents lived there, and ran a company called Rolex. That's totally not a reference to something in real life. Neil hadn't been there for 3 years. His parents welcomed him home. They set off fireworks. There were dancers. It looked like a festival had started. This is the house where Neil's parents lived. We were shown to the guest room. And this is actually one of my favorite towns in the game. Not that there's many to really have a favorite from, but okay then. And he's gonna talk to his parents because, you know, it's been 3 years. And we could progress with story, but there's a couple of side quests we could do here, only one of which is going to be done today, though. If you go down here, you can see there is a bit of a festival going on, and if you go even farther south, you can see that there is a redhead right there selling apples. She'll give you one. Head back into the house. You can, both of those doors lead into the house. I actually recommend the left over the right for this. And enter the leftmost door in the house, and you'll find this lady. I forget what her name is. Anne. A man has been looking for Kara, by the way. Keep that in mind for later. You should not tell her to not tell Kara about that. She'll find a weakness, and as payment, she wants an apple. You're gonna need to do this 3 times. And on the 3rd time, she'll give you a red jewel. Number 31! But with that, and us getting that red jewel and getting to Euro, I'm going to need to end things off here. Thank you guys for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And next time on Let's Play Illusion of Gaia, we'll be checking out the rest of the city of Euro, hopefully finding some more red jewels and plot progression. Wow, that was English. Progressing the plot in the process. See you guys then.